The sky above Seoul turned purple on a Tuesday. Morning Yuna was drinking her coffee on the bridge of the Hangak-don when the alarm started screaming. She put down her cup and looked at the main screen. Her heart stopped for a moment. 17 ships appeared from nowhere. They were massive. Each one was bigger than anything humans had ever built. They looked like floating cities made of chrome and blue light. They hung in Earth's orbit like gods looking down at insects. Yuna had been a soldier for 20 years. She had seen war. She had seen death. But she had never seen anything like this. "Get me a count on those ships," she said to her crew. Her voice was calm. A good captain never showed fear. 17 vessels, Admiral," said Ensign Hyun, a young man with shaking hands. "Each one is approximately 12 kilometers long." 12 kilometers. The Hangak-don was only 800 meters. They were nothing compared to these monsters. Yuna pressed a button on her chair. "Command, this is Admiral Yuna. Are you seeing this?" The response came immediately. It was General Tae, the head of United Earth Command. His voice was steady, but Yuna could hear the tension underneath. "We see them, Admiral. Hold your position. Do not engage." "Understood." Yuna watched the alien ships and waited. The whole world waited. The message came 30 minutes later. Every screen on Earth showed the same image. A creature appeared. It was tall and thin, with gray skin and 4 black eyes. It wore robes of deep purple and gold. When it spoke, the words came out in perfect Korean, perfect English, perfect every language at once. "I am High Arbiter Valen of the Galactic Council. I speak for 312 species across the galaxy. Your world has been judged." Yuna felt cold. "Humanity has violated 17 cosmic laws," Valen continued. "You are aggressive. You are carnivorous. You are warlike. Your technological growth is dangerously fast. You are a threat to galactic peace." The alien paused. Its 4 eyes seemed to look directly at every human at once. "You have 48 hours to surrender all military weapons and vessels. Your species will undergo genetic modification to remove violent tendencies. You will accept permanent observer status in the Galactic Council with no voting rights. You will never travel beyond your solar system without permission." Another pause. "You refuse, your species will be destroyed. This is not a negotiation. This is your only warning." The screen went black. For a moment, there was silence across the entire planet. Then the chaos began. In Busan. General Tae stood in the war room with his senior officers. Dr. Hannah, the head of Earth's alien technology research, was already running calculations on her tablet. Colonel Wu, commander of Earth's orbital defense grid, was on the phone with every satellite station on the planet. "Can we fight them?" General Tae asked. Colonel Wu shook his head. "Sir, we have 12 combat ships. They have 17 vessels, each one 50 times our size. We have orbital platforms designed to stop asteroids, not alien warships. Our chances are... Tell me the number." 3%. Maybe less. General Tae nodded slowly. He walked to the window and looked up at the sky. Somewhere up there, those massive ships were waiting. "What do we know about them?" he asked. Dr. Hannah stepped forward. "Almost nothing, sir. We only discovered faster-than-light travel 18 months ago. We didn't even know other species existed until today, so they've been watching us. Seems so." For a long time, General Tae turned to face his officers. His face was hard as stone. "They came here to make us kneel. They came here to cut out what makes us human. Our passion, our fire, our will to fight." He shook his head. "I will not let that happen, sir." "With respect," Colonel Wu said carefully, "we cannot win this fight. Maybe not. But we can make them bleed. We can show the galaxy that humanity does not surrender. We can die on our feet instead of living on our knees." The room was silent. Dr. Hannah spoke first. "If we're going to fight, I need to study their ships. I need every scan, every reading, every piece of data we can gather. There might be weaknesses we can exploit." "Do it," General Tae said. "Colonel Wu, start preparing the orbital grid for combat, and get me aligned to the president." 1 hour later, President Seok addressed the United Nations. She stood at the podium in New York, looking out at the representatives of every nation on Earth. Her voice was clear and strong. Today we face a choice. We can surrender our weapons, our freedom, and our very nature. We can let them change who we are. We can become something less than human. She paused. Or we can fight. The room erupted in noise. Some shouted in anger. Some shouted in fear. Some simply sat in shock. President Seok raised her hand for silence. I am not promising victory. I am not promising survival. I am only promising this. If we fight together. Every nation, every people, every human being standing as one. Vote took less than an hour. For the first time in human history, every nation voted the same way. Surrender was rejected. Earth would fight. Admiral Yuna received the news on the bridge of the Hangak Dawn. She read the message twice to make sure she understood. Admiral, Insan Hayan asked, what do we do? Yuna looked at her crew. They were young. Most of them had never seen real combat. They were scared. She could see it in their eyes. But she also saw something else. She saw determination. She saw courage. We do what humans have always done, she said. We fight for our home. We fight for our families. We fight for our right to exist. She stood up and faced the main screen. The alien ships were still there, waiting. In 48 hours, they expect us to bow down. They expect us to give up everything we are. Yuna smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a woman ready for war. Show them what humans do when someone tells us to surrender. The countdown had begun. 48 hours until the end of the world? Or the beginning of something new? Humanity had made its choice. Now, it was time to fight. The next 46 hours were the busiest in human history. Colonel Wu did not sleep. He stood in the command center in Busan, drinking cup after cup of cold coffee, coordinating every orbital platform and satellite weapon that Earth possessed. His eyes were red and tired, but his mind was sharp. Lieutenant Bora worked beside him. She was young, only 28 years old, but she was the best tactical mind in the Korean Space Force. Her job was simple, but impossible. Find a way to hurt ships that were 50 times bigger than anything humanity had ever built. The math doesn't work, she said quietly, staring at her screens. Their shields are too strong. Our missiles are too slow. Even if we hit them with everything we have, we might scratch their paint, and we need to think differently, Colonel Wu said. Sir, they have better technology. They have bigger ships. They have more experience. You cannot beat them by playing their game. He turned to look at her. So we don't play their game. We play ours. Lieutenant Bora nodded slowly. She started typing again, but this time she was looking for something different. Not how to match alien power, how to get around it. In the mountains of Gangwon Province, Dr. Hannah worked in a bunker deep underground. Her team of scientists had been analyzing every piece of data they could gather from the alien ships. They had been working for 30 hours straight. Their shields use a rotating frequency, she said, pointing at a screen full of numbers. Every 18 seconds, the frequency shifts, but for about half a second during each shift, there's a gap. Half a second? Her assistant asked. Hey, that's nothing. Half a second is not nothing. Half a second is an opportunity. Dr. Hannah pulled up another screen. If we time our missiles to hit during that gap, we can bypass the shields entirely. But how do we know exactly when the gap happens? Every ship might have a different timing. Dr. Hannah smiled. It was the smile of someone who hadn't slept in 2 days, but had just figured out something important. We just need to send enough missiles that some of them hit during the gap. It's not elegant, but it might work. She sent her findings to Colonel Wu immediately. On the Hangak Dawn, Admiral Yuna gathered her fleet. 12 ships in total. The Hangak Dawn was the largest, and it was still tiny compared to one alien vessel. The other ships were even smaller. Fast attack craft, support vessels. Ships designed for patrol duty, not war, but they were all humanity had. Listen to me, Yuna said, her voice broadcasting to every ship. If a few hours, we will engage the enemy. Some of us will not survive. Maybe none of us will survive. But every minute we fight, we give Earth more time. Every ship we damage, we show the galaxy that humanity will not go quietly. She paused. Your families are down there. Your friends, your homes. Everything you love is on that blue planet behind you. And I know you will fight for it. I know you will make me proud. The channel was silent for a moment. Then one by one, the captains responded. Inchin Star, ready to fight. Daegu Blade, standing by. Busan Fire, weapons hot. Every ship reported in. Every captain was ready. Yuna closed her eyes for a moment and took a breath. Then she opened them and gave the order. All ships, move to intercept position. We meet the enemy in 3 hours. The fleet began to move. On the alien flagship, High Arbiter Valen watched the human ships approaching. He felt something he had not felt in centuries. Amusement. They are coming to meet us, his tactical officer said. 12 vessels, none larger than 800 meters. I know, Valen said. They are fools, or they are brave. Perhaps there is no difference. Should we destroy them now? Valen considered the question. The Galactic Council had conquered 400 species over 11,000 years. Some had surrendered immediately. Some had tried to run. Few had tried to fight. None had ever attacked first. No, he said finally, let them come. Let them fire their little weapons. Let them see how powerless they truly are. Then we will end them. The tactical officer bowed and returned to his station. Valen continued to watch the human ships. Such tiny things, such fragile creatures. He almost felt sorry for them. Almost back on Earth, General Tay made one final call. It was to his daughter Minji, who lived in Daijin with her 2 children. Appa, she said when she answered. Her voice was shaking. Are we going to die? I don't know, he said honestly. Maybe, but I need you to know something. What? Whatever happens today, we did not choose to be cowards. We stood up. We fought back. Your children will know that their grandfather did not bow to anyone. Minji was crying now. I'm scared. I'm scared too. But courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is being afraid and standing up anyway. He paused. I love you. I love the children. Now go hug them tight and wait for good news. He ended the call before she could respond. He didn't want her to hear his voice break. General Tay turned back to the war room. Every screen showed different data. Fleet positions, missile counts, shield frequencies. The entire defense of Earth laid out in numbers and charts. Sir, Colonel Wu said, the fleet is in position. Admiral Yuna is requesting permission to open communications with the enemy. Granted. Behind her, through the bridge windows, the alien fleet was visible. Massive shapes against the stars. Ready when you are, General, she said. General Tay nodded. Show them what humanity is made of, Admiral. Yuna smiled. Then she turned to her communications officer. Open a channel to the alien flagship. Let's talk. The channel opened. High Arbiter Valen appeared on the screen, his 4 eyes blinking slowly. Your 48 hours have not yet expired, he said. You still have time to surrender. Yuna stood tall. Her voice was calm and clear. We're not here to surrender. We're here to give you one chance to leave. Take your ships. Go back to your council. Tell them that Earth is not for conquest. Valen made a sound that might have been laughter. You cannot win, Admiral. You must know this. Yuna's smile grew wider. Maybe not. But we can make sure you never forget us. She cut the transmission. Then she looked at her crew. All ships, fire on my command. She raised her hand. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when you threatened humanity. Fire. The first missiles launched in perfect silence. In space, there is no sound. No explosion of engines. No roar of fire. Just bright points of light racing toward the enemy like angry stars. Admiral Yuna watched from the bridge of the Hungok Dawn. Her heart was pounding. But her face showed nothing. A captain must be stone. Lieutenant Bora's calculations were perfect. The missiles hit the alien shields at exactly the right moment. During that tiny half-second gap that Dr. Hannah had discovered, the gap that was supposed to be too small to matter. The first alien ship shuddered. A section of its hull tore open. Atmosphere vented into space like white blood. The second ship lost power to its engines. It began to drift. The third ship's shield generators exploded. Blue energy crackled across its surface like lightning. For 10 beautiful seconds, humanity had shocked the galaxy. Then the aliens fired back. Yuna saw the beams coming. Bright green lines of pure energy, each one powerful enough to cut a mountain in half. The Hungok Dawn's sensors screamed warnings, evasive maneuvers. She shouted. Ensign Haon's hands flew across his controls. The ship rolled hard to starboard. The first beam missed by less than 50 meters, but the second beam did not miss. It hit the Hungok Dawn's port side. The ship screamed. Metal tore. Alarms filled the bridge with red light and noise. Damage report, Yuna called out. Port weapons array destroyed. Hull breach on decks 7 through 12. 32 casualties confirmed. 32 dead in the first minute. Yuna pushed the grief down. Later, she could grieve later. Turn fire. All weapons. The Hungok Dawn's remaining guns blazed. Missiles launched. Energy beams stabbed at the enemy. Most shots bounced off alien shields. But some got through. Some hurt. Across the battle, humanity's tiny fleet fought like cornered wolves. The Inchin Star, fast attack ship, dove between two alien vessels and fired torpedoes at point-blank range. The explosions damaged both enemy ships before the Inchin Star was caught in a crossfire and torn apart. Captain Junho died with his hands on the controls, still fighting. The Daegu blade used its small size to hide in the shadow of a larger alien ship. It fired into the enemy's engine section, again and again, causing fires that spread through the vessel. When the alien ship finally exploded, the Daegu blade was caught in the blast, but its crew cheered as they died. They had killed something much bigger than themselves. Hi, Arbiter Volin watched from his flagship with growing confusion. This was not how war worked. When the Council attacked, species surrendered. When they fought back, they fought logically. Defensively, they tried to protect themselves. These humans did neither. They attacked with no concern for their own survival. They took insane risks. They died laughing. What are they doing? Volin demanded. His tactical officer had no answer. The numbers made no sense. The humans had already lost half their fleet. They should be running. They should be begging for mercy. Instead, they were pressing the attack on Earth. Colonel Wu launched the second wave. This time, it was not just missiles. It was chaos. Thousands of objects launched from orbital platforms. Some were weapons. Some were decoys. Some were just empty metal boxes designed to confuse sensors. They filled the space around the alien fleet with a cloud of targets. The alien ships tried to shoot them all down, but there were too many. They couldn't tell which objects were dangerous and which were trash. Their perfect computers couldn't process the randomness. This is madness, the alien tactical officer said. No species fights like this. No, Volin agreed quietly. They do not. He was beginning to understand something. The Galactic Council had been conquering worlds for 11,000 years. They had become comfortable, predictable. They expected their enemies to think like them. Humanity did not think like them. Humanity thought like predators, like survivors, like creatures who had spent millions of years fighting each other for every scrap of food and land. They were evolved for chaos. They thrived in it. And they would not stop fighting until every single one of them was dead. On the Hungok Dawn, Admiral Yuna was bleeding. A piece of metal had hit her head when the last beam struck the ship. Blood ran down her face, but she refused to leave the bridge. She wiped it away and kept giving orders. Status of the enemy fleet? 5 ships damaged. Admiral. 2 are drifting without power. 1 is on fire. 5 ships. Humanity had hurt 5 alien ships. It was almost unbelievable, but the cost was terrible. Only 4 human ships remained. The Busan fire had been destroyed 5 minutes ago. The Olsen Victory had rammed an enemy vessel and exploded. The Gwangju Hope had been cut in half by an energy beam. So many dead. So many lives ended. Admiral Ensign Heian said quietly, "We cannot win this." Yuna looked at him. He was pale and shaking. There were tears in his eyes. But he was still at his post. Still doing his job? "No," she agreed. "We probably cannot. But we can make them pay for every inch. We can make this the most expensive victory they have ever had." She turned back to the screen. "All remaining ships execute Pattern Nari." Pattern Nari was not from any military textbook. It was invented by Ensign Heen himself, based on video games he had played as a child. It was about random movement, unpredictable attacks, constant chaos. The aliens relied on computers to predict enemy movement. Pattern Nari was designed to make prediction impossible. The 4 remaining human ships scattered. They moved in seemingly random directions, firing as they went. They would rush toward an enemy, fire everything, then flee before the return shot could hit. They never stayed still. They never followed a pattern. The alien gunners couldn't lock on. Their computers kept trying to predict where the human ships would go next. But the humans themselves didn't know where they would go next. They were making it up as they went. It was beautiful madness on Earth. Dr. Hannah watched the battle data streaming across her screens. She was crying, but she was also smiling. "They're learning," she said to no one in particular. "Adapting. Finding new ways to fight." This was what humanity did. When faced with impossible odds, they got creative. They bent rules. They broke expectations. They refused to accept that something was impossible. General Tay stood beside her watching the same data. "How long can they hold?" he asked. "I don't know. Hours, maybe. The aliens still have 12 functional ships. We have 4. Then we need to give them something more." General Tay turned to his staff. "Everything we have left. Every weapon, every satellite, every piece of space junk we can throw at them. Launch it all." The order went out. Earth emptied its pockets, and the battle continued. By hour 6, the battle had become a nightmare. The space around Earth was filled with debris. Pieces of destroyed ships floated everywhere. Human and alien wreckage mixed together. Spinning slowly in the cold darkness, Admiral Yuna sat in her command chair, holding her broken arm against her chest. The ship's doctor had put it in a temporary cast, but there was no time for proper treatment. There was no time for anything except fighting. The Hangok Dawn was dying. Half the crew was gone. Life support was failing on most decks. The engines were running on emergency power. Every few minutes, another system would fail and the lights would flicker, but the ship was still fighting. "How many enemy ships left?" Yuna asked. 6 fully operational, her tactical officer reported. 5 more are damaged but still fighting. 2 are completely dead in space, 11 ships out of 17. Humanity had killed or crippled 11 alien ships. It was impossible. It was ridiculous. It was the greatest military achievement in human history, and it still wasn't enough. Our remaining forces? Just us, Admiral. The last 2 other ships were destroyed 20 minutes ago. Just the Hangok Dawn. 1 broken ship against 11 enemies. Yuna closed her eyes for a moment. She could feel the weight of everything pressing down on her. The dead crew members. The burning ship. The impossible odds. Then she opened her eyes and smiled. "Get me Dr. Hannah on a secure channel." The scientist appeared on screen moments later. She looked exhausted. Dark circles under her eyes. Hair messy and unwashed, but her eyes were still sharp. "Admiral, I thought you would be dead by now." "Not yet. Listen, I need information on the enemy flagship. The one carrying High Arbiter Valen." Dr. Hannah typed quickly. "The flagship is their command center. All tactical coordination runs through it. If you destroy the flagship, their fleet loses central command. They would have to operate independently. Would that help us?" "It would create confusion. Delay their response time. Give Earth maybe another hour to prepare defenses." Dr. Hannah paused. but the flagship is the most heavily shielded ship in their fleet. You can't break through those shields with conventional weapons. Una nodded slowly. She had expected that answer. What if I don't use conventional weapons? What if I use my ship? There was silence on the channel. Admiral, are you suggesting a collision? I'm suggesting that a ship moving at full speed carries a lot of energy. More than any missile we have. If the Hangok Dawn hits the flagship directly, it would bypass the shields entirely, Dr. Hannah whispered. The kinetic energy would destroy their shield generators, maybe their engines. But Admiral, you and your crew would die. My crew will evacuate. Escape pods have independent life support. They can survive until rescue. And you? Una didn't answer that question. They both knew the answer. Send me the flagship's position, an optimal impact point. I'll handle the rest. Dr. Hannah stared at her through the screen. There were tears in her eyes. It's been an honor, Admiral. The honor was mine. Tell General Tay to keep fighting after I'm gone. Tell him humanity doesn't surrender. The channel closed. Una stood up slowly. Her whole body hurt. She walked to the center of the bridge, where her crew was watching her. They knew. They had heard everything. You all know what I'm planning, she said quietly. I won't order any of you to stay. Get to the escape pods. All of you. Nobody moved. That's an order. Still nobody moved. Ensign Hyan spoke first. Admiral, someone needs to fly the ship. The autopilot is damaged. You need a pilot. I can fly the ship myself. Not with one arm. You can't. Hyan stood up from his station. I'm staying. I'll fly us in. Hyun. No. You're 22 years old. You have your whole life ahead of you. The young man smiled. It was a sad smile, but also peaceful. My whole life is about to be spent doing something that matters. How many people can say that? Una wanted to argue. She wanted to order him to leave, but she saw the look in his eyes, and she knew there was no changing his mind. Everyone else, she said firmly. Escape pods. Now, this time they obeyed. One by one, the remaining crew members filed off the bridge. Some saluted as they left. Some cried. One engineer, a woman named Salmon, stopped to hug the Admiral before running to the pods. In 3 minutes, the bridge was empty except for Una and Hyan. Set course for the enemy flagship, Una said. Hyan's hands moved across the controls. The Hangok Dawn turned slowly, pointing its nose at the largest alien ship. Course set. Full speed will take approximately 4 minutes to reach target. Do it! The engines roared. What was left of them anyway? The ship began to accelerate, pushing toward the flagship like a dying animal, making one last charge. High Arbiter Valen saw it coming. You're heading directly for us, his tactical officer said, confused. One ship, moving at full speed, shoot it down. Every gun on the flagship opened fire. Green beams of energy lashed through space. Explosions bloomed across the Hangok Dawn's hull, but the ship kept coming. Increase fire. Destroy that ship. More beams. More explosions. The Hangok Dawn was being torn apart piece by piece. Entire sections broke off and spun away into darkness. Fires burned in the wreckage, but the ship kept coming. On the bridge, Una held onto her chair as the world exploded around her. The main screen was cracked. The ceiling was falling in pieces. Hyan was bleeding from a cut on his face, but his hands never left the controls. 2 minutes to impact, he shouted over the noise. Stay on target. Another explosion. The port side of the bridge tore away. Stars were visible through the hole. Una felt the vacuum trying to pull her out, but she held on. 1 minute. Stay on target. Valen watched in horror as the human ship refused to die. It was more debris than ship now. A burning skeleton of metal and fire, but somehow it was still moving. Still accelerating. All ships, concentrate fire. Too late. The Hangok Dawn hit the flagship's shield generators at full speed. The explosion was beautiful. A sphere of white light that grew and grew, swallowing both ships. When it faded, the flagship was crippled. Its shields were gone. Its engines were dark. Its weapons were silent. High Arbiter Valen was alive, but his ship was dead. In the debris field, a single escape pod tumbled slowly. Inside, Una floated in the darkness. She was alive, barely. The impact had thrown her clear somehow. She didn't know how. She didn't care. Through the small window, she could see the ruined flagship. She could see the confusion spreading through the alien fleet. She smiled. "Worth it," she whispered. Then she closed her eyes and let the darkness take her. The battle lasted 19 hours. When it was finally over, the silence was almost painful. No more explosions. No more screaming alarms. Just the quiet hum of surviving systems and the distant stars. General Tay stood in the war room in Busan, staring at the final numbers on his screen. He read them 3 times to make sure they were real. Alien ships destroyed or crippled, 11 of 17. Human ships lost. All 12 orbital platforms lost, 60% human casualties, approximately 4,000, and humanity was still standing. The remaining 6 alien ships had retreated. They had pulled back beyond the moon, licking their wounds, waiting for something. Maybe orders from the Galactic Council. Maybe reinforcements. Maybe they were simply trying to understand what had just happened. Colonel Wu approached the general. He looked like a man who had aged 10 years in one day. "Sir, we're getting a transmission from one of the escape pods. It's Admiral Una." General Tay's heart jumped. "She's alive?" "Barely. Her pod was recovered by one of our rescue shuttles. She's unconscious, but the medics say she'll survive." For the first time in 19 hours, General Tay allowed himself to feel something other than fear. He felt hope. What about the enemy flagship? Dead in space. High Arbiter Volan is alive, but his ship has no power, no weapons, no engines. "He's not going anywhere," General Tay nodded. "Good. Let him sit there and think about what happened." 3 days passed. Admiral Una woke up in a hospital bed in Seoul. Her left arm was in a full cast. Her ribs were bandaged. Her head was wrapped in white cloth, but she was alive. General Tay was sitting beside her bed when she opened her eyes. "Welcome back," he said quietly. Una blinked. Her mouth was dry. Her whole body ached. "Did we win?" she asked. "We survived. That's a kind of winning." She closed her eyes and breathed. "Survival, yes, that was victory enough." "The crew of the Hangak Dawn?" "Most of them made it to the escape pods. We lost 37 people who didn't get out in time, including Ensign Hin." Una felt the grief hit her like a wave. Hin, the young pilot who had stayed with her until the end. The boy who had chosen to matter. "He was brave," she whispered. "They all were. Every single person who fought in that battle. The galaxy will never forget what they did." Una opened her eyes again. "What happens now?" "The aliens still have ships. They could attack again." General Tay smiled. It was a strange smile, almost amused. "Something interesting happened while you were sleeping. We got a message from the Galactic Council. A new delegation is arriving. Not warships this time. Diplomatic vessels. Diplomats. After we fought them, it seems we made an impression." The new delegation arrived on a Thursday. Their ships were smaller than the warships, elegant and white, like floating temples. They landed at the ruins of the Seoul spaceport, which was still being cleared of debris from the battle. General Tay and Admiral Una met them there. Una had insisted on being present, even though the doctors told her to stay in bed. She walked slowly, leaning on a cane. But she walked. The lead diplomat was a being called Elder Myra. She was tall and silver-skinned, with 6 eyes that moved independently. Her voice was soft when she spoke. "General Tay, Admiral Una, I come on behalf of the Galactic Council. We remember the last time the Council sent representatives," General Tay said. His voice was cold. "They threatened to destroy our species." "Yes, and you responded by destroying nearly their entire fleet." Elder Mira made a gesture that might have been a bow. "The Council has reconsidered its position on humanity?" Admiral Una stepped forward. Even injured, even leaning on a cane, She was intimidating. Reconsidered how. The demand for surrender is withdrawn. There will be no genetic modification. No restrictions on human space travel. Our status in the Council. Elder Mira hesitated. This was clearly difficult for her. The Council has existed for 11,000 years. In that time, we have conquered 412 species. Some surrendered immediately. Some tried to negotiate. A few tried to fight. She paused. None of them fought like you. None of them surprised us. None of them made us afraid. The word hung in the air. Afraid. The Galactic Council. Rulers of 300 species, masters of thousands of worlds, was afraid of humanity. We are offering provisional membership in the Council, Elder Mira continued. Full voting rights. Access to galactic trade networks and technology. All we ask in return is peace. Admiral Yuna laughed. It hurt her ribs, but she couldn't help it. You came here to erase us. You called us violent and dangerous. You wanted to cut out everything that makes us human. And now you want us as partners? Yes. Why? Elder Mira's 6 eyes focused on Yuna, because we have spent 11,000 years building a perfect system. Orderly, logical, predictable. We have forgotten what it means to be surprised. We have forgotten what it means to face a species that does not behave as expected. She gestured toward the sky, where the debris of the battle was still visible as faint glittering points. Oh. You have reminded us. You have shown us that the galaxy is not as safe as we believed. That there are species who will not bow, no matter the cost. She lowered her hand. We would rather have such a species as allies than as enemies. General Tay looked at Admiral Yuna. She nodded slowly. Provisional membership, he said. We will consider it. As the alien delegation prepared to leave, Elder Mira turned back one last time. One question, General. For my own understanding, ask. When High Arbiter Volan gave you the ultimatum, you had to know you could not win. Your technology was inferior. Your fleet was tiny. Every calculation said you would be destroyed. She tilted her head. Why did you fight? General Tay thought about the question. He thought about his daughter and grandchildren. He thought about the crew of the Hangak Dawn. He thought about every soldier who had died defending their home. Because we are human, he said simply. We do not surrender. We do not give up. We do not stop fighting until the fight is truly over. It is not logical. It is not smart. But it is who we are. Elder Mira considered this for a long moment. I think, she said slowly, the galaxy is about to become a much more interesting place. She left. Her ship rose into the sky and disappeared among the stars. Admiral Yuna stood beside General Tay, watching it go. Do you think they will really accept us? She asked. I think they have no choice. They tried to destroy us and failed. Now they have to live with us. He smiled. The galaxy wanted to judge humanity. They wanted to see what we are made of. Well, now they know. Yuna nodded. She looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, hundreds of species were learning about what humanity had done. They were reading the reports, watching the recordings, seeing a tiny species stand against impossible odds and refuse to break. Some of them would be afraid. Some would be angry. Some might even be inspired, but none of them would ever underestimate humanity again. What happens now? She asked. General Tay put a hand on her shoulder. Now we rebuild. We grow stronger. We take our place among the stars. He smiled. And we make sure the galaxy never forgets the day they tried to make humanity surrender. The wind blew across the ruined spaceport. Above them, the sky was dark and full of stars. Humanity had entered the galactic stage, and nothing would ever be the same again.